first thing that came to my mind was that there's not really anything else like it. Like, I haven't heard of any energy practice that goes for business, that is for the corporate world. So, and that's the first thing that came to me. The other thing that came to me was, and I think you mentioned this before, is even if you don't understand the way energy works, you still understand the way energy works. Because when we scheduled this, it just made me think back about how when we started our little journey, 97, 98, we had kind of figured out that there's a pattern to it, right? So it wasn't just random like everybody thinks. And even if you don't understand it, you still know when you walk in a room what the energy feels like. And if it's good or if it's bad, when you walk into a work meeting, if it's going to be a good meeting or if it's going to be a bad meeting, like right off the bat. You don't even have to finish the meeting. So it's interesting. It's interesting to me. And I haven't seen anybody else in this space. Have you guys?
No, we have not. I think the piece that we're finding, right, is that it's exactly what you said, that we've all, for years, right, you feel the energy, especially at work. I think you're almost more in tune with it there than you might be in some of your other spaces in your life, but you don't know what to do about it. So if you walk into the meeting and the energy feels off, what do? Right? It might not be something where you can even say anything in the meeting, but how do you then figure out how you're going to keep your energy in a place where it's not going to get dragged down by whatever else is happening in that room? So that's the big piece of what we would really hope to help people with, is understand how you manage your own energy, right? Because you can't control other people's energy. So in those situations, then you have to learn how to control your own energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. There's times when I've been at work in the building, walking in the halls, and I won't even make eye contact because you just feel it. And if you do, that your energy is going to drop and you're not going to have a good day, And so it's like, yeah, how do you diffuse that? Because I think, people think that they don't understand the way it works, but they already kind of do. It's just, figuring out the flow and the rules around it, how it works. So I'm curious, like what would your first steps be, like with a client, like with a business client?
Ideal would be to start with leadership. And so we would spend, somewhere between a day and a half, 2 days, depending on a couple different variables, with the leadership, really first explaining what energy is, right? Mm-hmm. So even though everybody's feeling it, they don't necessarily know they're feeling it. So we really want to get focused on helping them understand that what they are feeling in those different scenarios that you just mentioned is energy. And then we'd spend a lot of time talking about how to layer your energy so that you can stay in a higher energetic frequency even when all around you might be falling apart. So we would bring associates in and do training specifically for them, which would be a lot more condensed than what we did for the leadership team. So that's what we would do from a training perspective, and that would probably be our entree into the organization. But we also would offer coaching, like executive coaching, and we would also offer consulting. So if a company had like a specific issue that they were really wrestling with and they couldn't get a breakthrough, we would consult with them and help them get to that breakthrough and help bring everybody's energy up around what the issue is so that they could solve it. Mm-hmm. So we would do very targeted consulting gigs too.
So here's an interesting thing that we've learned, Montana, is that so you form this combined energy field with people in your life. Well, you do the same thing at work. So your energy, when you think about your work people, your energy merges together. And that's why we don't really like to cause these ripples at work, because we don't want to disrupt that energy field. So we're most happy and content when everything feels the same inside this energy field, right? So then one project bump happens and it sends a ripple through that field, And then immediately what people want to do is to try to get somebody to change, right? That there's not a problem, or we don't want to have to deal with that problem, or whatever it is. So it disrupts this energy field at work, and then everybody's out of sorts.
Yep.
So what you're really trying to do is to help people first know that that energy field exists, and it's good because it's the way that we don't have to rebuild all of these commonalities every day. If we didn't have this energy field, think about it, we'd have to start over every day with how this information that's already known inside this field, right? So it's efficient to hold that energy and information in this particular field because you know how somebody's going to react to something that's all held in this field.
Yep.
So it's about then taking that field and changing the energy in it, hopefully moving it up so they get into a different place, can get to then the level of where they get to different solutions for the problem that they're trying to wrestle with, or the issue, or whatever it is, right? So you first kind of have to know about your own energy and how it works. Then you need to learn about this field, this blended field of energy that we all pull together, and understand you have a responsibility inside that field. And if you really want things to go well at work, you got to keep your energy in a place lifted.
Yeah, and I mean, I view it as you're a step ahead on any project that you're working on if you've got that there, because you don't have to build that every time you have something different you got.